welcome back to another writing vlog. I wasn't sure if I was going to start this vlog off today, which is Monday, the 2nd October. I could be totally wrong. No, it's the 3rd of October. It is 3:15. I took today and tomorrow off because I took from Wednesday of last week to tomorrow off for PTO because I was going to Vegas. So on Wednesday night, I flew into Vegas and I flew back on Saturday night or Saturday evening. And it was really fun. It was for my friend's 30th birthday. We had a really good time. But of course, I ended up getting sick. So yesterday, Sunday, I started to feel like I had the flu and I ended up having a fever and I tested for COVID. It was negative again. So I still have not had COVID the entirety of, the time that COVID started. Never had it. According to the at-home, tests that who knows how accurate those are. I wanted to start this vlog because I was writing down some ideas for a potential writing project that I may want to start for Nano, and it just sort of got my brain spinning, and I saw some people uploading like their Nano goals already for Preptober and everything. It just got me thinking about what I want to do, and so I'm kind of in a weird spot because I want to start revising draft 2. Start revising draft 1 of Project Onyx. So essentially I'd be starting draft 2 of Project Onyx. So for Project Amethyst, I'm at 37,000 words, just over that. And I don't think I can finish my first draft of Project Amethyst by the end of October. I have a lot of things happening in October. I think next weekend I don't have anything, but after that, every other weekend there's something going on because it's my birthday month, it's one of my best friend's birthday months, and then we've just got other things going on. I don't have a whole lot of time, I feel like. When it comes to November, I'm probably, whatever I pick to focus on in November will probably be the only thing that I'm going to be focusing on, at least for the majority of the time. So if I do start a new project in November, that's going to be a whole month off probably from Project Amethyst. So I'm not really sure what I want to do. However, a big pro to the idea that I have that I might want to work on in November is that it would be a spin-off of the world in Project Amethyst, and there would even be some overlap with the characters. The main character that I'm thinking about is actually going to be one that I'm going to introduce in the Project Amethyst series. I don't know when in the timeline they'll be introduced, but I have some major stuff planned for this character that's going to happen in Project Amethyst, in that series. And so if I'm writing this new series, the spin-off series, I might have a little bit more sense of where I want the Project Amethyst series to go. Because after a certain point with that series, I don't really know what I want to happen. Up to a point, I have what's gonna happen or at least the big major plot points, but I'm not sure how many books that will be. I probably only have about 2 books, and after book 2, I don't really know, but book 3 might be. I kind of have ideas for those, but it's not super planned out, and I don't know if I want to do a 4th book or a 5th book or keep going with this series. I think this spin-off series would be really cool to work on as I'm working on Project Amethyst because I could get an idea of where I want that world to be headed. So for example, there's certain types of characters, certain species of magical people that are treated like absolute garbage in this world. And in the spin-off series, I want things to start getting better for them. I want their society to start treating those people better and having the reader be able to see that. So there's things like that. There's also a character in Project Amethyst that's introduced in the very beginning that I always had planned to write something for her as she gets older. I'm thinking that this will be, set in the future, and I just think it would be really fun and cool to do that. So I'm kind of I'm kind of playing around with that idea of doing that for NaNoWriMo so that I have a new idea to work on, a brand new story to work on. But I don't think I will be doing any plotting for this. I know the gist of the story and some of the characters, but I don't know a whole lot else. So I kind of just want to see where it takes me and not take it super seriously, just kind of have fun with it, see what comes up, and see what other ideas I might generate for Project Amethyst that way. And if I feel like also writing for Project Amethyst, I can still do that. That's kind of my idea, but I'm hoping to finalize that in this vlog, and then I probably will post like a more in-depth video about my goals and whatnot. But I'm trying to kind of think for like Preptober what I want to focus on, and I think my focus will be to get as far as I can in Project Amethyst. And then I do want to start revising Project Onyx. So that's a lot, but that's kind of the theme lately is like, I want to be a writer. I need to spend more time writing. I need to like really dedicate myself to my writing. Basically, I'm kind of in the mindset of like, if I want to be a full-time writer, I need to be a full-time writer, like as much as possible, you know? And I think that for me, it makes a lot of sense to always have a project that is in the drafting mode, because revising is just a whole different game to me. It seems like just a whole different thing. So I feel like I should always have something that's in kind of a draft 1 or draft 0, like a new, you know, idea or a new story that I'm working on while I'm revising other things. Yeah, I don't think I really have anything else to say. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. But I just kind of wanted to pop on, talk through some of my ideas so I can kind of keep thinking about them, keep ruminating on them. So it's October 8th, Saturday. It's 1:45-ish. I keep trying to do this update and I can't do it. So basically, to summarize, I'm still sick. My goal today is to just basically hydrate the crap out of myself so that I can get better, because I'm done being sick. I'm just done with it. Don't want to do it anymore. I mean, I didn't want to do it in the first place, but you know what I mean? I'm over it, like so over it, to the point where it's making me mad that I'm still sick. But with that being said, I also don't want to push myself and prolong anything, so I don't really know what I'm doing today. But I'm just gonna take you guys along the weekend with me as much as possible. Well, not as much as possible, just like, that wasn't what I intended to say at all. Where was I going with that? Basically, okay, what I was attempting to say is that I have a 3-day weekend. So at some point during this week, I do want to write. Even more excited, well, maybe not more excited, kind of. I want to start draft 2 of Project Onyx. It's happening, it's time, I want to do it. So that's my goal for this 3-day weekend. You know, apparently Columbus Day is like still a holiday. It's still a bank holiday, and because of that, I have a 3-day weekend, because the place that I work, we do a lot of business with banks, so if they're closed, sometimes we're closed. The other thing that I did this morning was I wrote down a little idea that I had for a prologue for Project Aura, which is going to be my Nano project, unless I change my mind, but I'm still pretty set on writing that for Nano. I kind of just want to work on a fresh project for Nano and really like partake in the Nano vibes of working on a brand new thing. And that's really as much prep as I intend to do, is just brainstorming here and there little ideas, anything that happens to kind of come to mind. I'll write it down. I already have a Scrivener project set up for Project Aura where I'm keeping notes in, but I have not obviously done any writing on it yet. Okay, so I just finished a 30-minute writing sprint. It didn't, I don't know, the scene I was writing, I feel like nothing really happened in it except for it set, like it brought a few characters to, like it explained, yeah, like it doesn't, it's just not necessary is kind of what I feel like. And so I'm gonna leave it alone for now. I'm trying to explain things but be very vague because I don't want to give like spoilers to my own book. But basically they went back to where my main character lives, like her apartment, let's say. They discover something weird is going on there, and so the other character is like, we can't stay here, you need to leave. So they go back to where he lives. Then they need to get the rest of the characters that also live in that apartment out too. So this scene was basically my one character who is very, how do I want to describe her? Fiery, and yeah, so she like comes blazing in and she's like, why, like, where did you take our friend? Like, where is she? Let us see her. Then this other person ends up being brought to this place too. And then they're like, well, why did you bring her here? We don't want her here. And kind of there's like a little bit that kind of needs to happen here, but it also felt like kind of a filler scene a little bit. And I feel like I get this way sometimes when I haven't written for a while and I'm trying to find my footing again. So that's kind of where I feel like the scene went, but so it's fine. I am going to take a break. It is 4:15. So I think I'm gonna add to my Instagram stories that I did a writing sprint. Oh, by the way, I got 884 words. So it was good. Like, it was good word count wise, but as we all know, word count does not mean that they are quality words. So I'm gonna take a break. I'm starting to feel pretty tired, and since it is after 4, I do need to feed my dog, and I also need to feed myself, probably. I think that's all I'm gonna try to do today in terms of writing. I just am so tired. So I'm also reading a series. It's The Vicious Lost Boys. The first book is The Never King. I finished that. I read almost 70 or 80% of that book like the first night that I was reading it without even meaning to. I think they're very short books or something. They are like a dark romance technically. Yeah, I would definitely say like the spicy parts of the book are definitely not for everybody, and they're the majority of the book. So if you're not like into darker romance, I would not recommend it. I don't even know if I'm into dark romance, but I was just very intrigued by the whole Peter Pan retelling. And I feel like it's giving me like a lot of inspiration for just some of my fantasy worlds, like just, I don't know. Even though the world building isn't super involved in this book, since it is just like a dark romance, they don't get super into the world building and all that, but I'm still getting like so much inspiration from it in a weird way. I like flew through that book. I'm on the second one now. The reason that I'm bringing this up is every time I'm reading a romance book that is like fantasy, right, I always like, that's always my one issue with them, is just that there's not enough world building. So let me know what your favorite recent like romance fantasy books are. Like, I'm talking like fantasy books with romance and spice in them, not fantasy romance where it's like it's a romance book set in a fantasy world. Do you guys get the difference? I hope I explained that right. So I'm looking more for like things that would be considered similar to like ACOTAR and the stuff that I like to write. I haven't had like a recommendation for that type of book in a while, so I feel like I haven't had one to read in a while. So let me know if you have any recommendations. Sorry about the weird angle and the mess behind me and everything, but I finished the book that I was reading, which was The Dark One. It's by Nikki St. Crow. It's the Vicious Lost Boys series. So I finished book 2. I don't feel like reading book 3 right now, just because it's kind of a lot. Like, just I feel like I can't read too many like dark romance books. I decided that I was gonna scroll TikTok and let Book Talk pick my next book to read. So the first one that came up was Bittersweet Memories by, I hope I don't mispronounce this, but by Katharina Mora? More? Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited because I've seen this book pop up on Book Talk multiple times, like multiple times. I know for a fact that I've screenshotted it before. That's what I do, you know, go through TikTok and take a screenshot of all the TikToks that talk about the books you want to read. So I'm like, I know I already put this kind of on my TBR, except my TBR has moved off of Goodreads and it's just on my camera roll these days. So it is Sunday, October 9th. It's 12:20-ish. Bear with me, I'm still sick and I'm getting better, but yeah, I'm so fed up with this. But I went back to reread through what I had written a few chapters prior to the portion that I wrote yesterday that I said that I wasn't really feeling. It was kind of filler, it didn't feel right for some reason. I read back through, you know, I went back a few chapters and then read through to where I am now, and I think I realized where I went wrong. I think that there's this one section where I think what needs to happen is me hinting that there's something weird going on instead of being like, oh, look, there's something weird going on, and then the plot changing because of that. Like it felt like these things were happening a little too soon and potentially out of order. Sorry again about my squeaky chair. But that's where I feel like it went wrong. That's where I feel like I took a little bit of a wrong turn. In my draft, I think what I'm going to do is keep what I wrote. I'll put it somewhere else, but at that fork, I'm going to go back and write, you know, start again and write back. And it's only like maybe 2-3 chapters. And they're not long scenes, I don't think. Actually, yeah, it's like 2 chapters, but they're not big ones. So it's not that much writing that I did that is gonna be like a waste, and it's not a waste, you know? I have some good lines in there I think that I want to steal. There's some good banter, I feel like. Something that I realized my character can do with one of her powers that's not really the intent of her power, or her, like, that's not really like the purpose of it, but it works in a different way as well. And so I figured, you know, I found that out kind of by accident, so that's cool. But I decided, I was like, okay, well today I need to go back through my notes. I need to reread my notes, get back on track. I had somewhere where I was going and I need to just remind myself of where I was headed and where I was thinking, you know, I could go with this. I opened up my notebook and the page that it fell to, I just started reading like in the middle of the page kind of randomly, and I realized that I had completely forgotten that I had already kind of had an idea for how something was supposed to go after this part that I had already written, if that makes sense. Like I had notes about, oh, you're gonna, like, it's gonna this and then this and then this, and I just completely forgot about it. Anyways, so I have some brainstorming I need to do. I need to go back and kind of make that fork where I'm gonna go a different direction. And then I think I just keep going, and I gotta remember to keep looking at my notes. And then I turned the page again just now and I'm seeing another note that I have written down about something that I still have not incorporated into this. The other thing that I was thinking while I was kind of just sitting, trying to figure out why I was feeling so confused and lost at this point, is I don't know how many books I'm going to write for this series. I feel like it's something where I could write quite a lot of books. I keep kind of feeling like I'm trying to pack too much into the first book. I just don't know, you know, I just don't know like where to end it, what to try to incorporate in this first book and what to leave for another book. It's like I already know a lot about what is going to happen. It's just hard to find that where does the first book end and how much of the second and third books and those plot points need to be woven into the first book. And just all of that I'm trying to figure out, and I keep kind of thinking maybe I should try to outline the rest of the book.
You in the backyard of your old farm in the summer.
It is Monday, October 10th. It's 2:52 in the afternoon. I'm still a little sick, as you can probably still tell. And I have today off because it's Columbus Day. I think I already talked about that. I have been writing down some notes. I have gotten to a point with Project Amethyst where just in all the time I've spent the past couple of days like thinking about the story and where it's headed, and I told you guys like, oh, I kind of, started going down one path, didn't like it, so I backtracked. And while I was thinking about that backtracking, started thinking about the whole story and how I felt like I kind of lost sight of where it was headed. I lost sight of like what the ending is gonna be. There's so many different threads and so many different characters that I lost a bunch of the threads that I had set up in the beginning, and I was just feeling very lost and feeling very confused, and I wasn't sure what to do. So yesterday I don't really think I did anything other than yesterday I don't think I really did anything. Today I started to kind of write down some notes. Then that's when I was realizing, I was like, I don't know where I'm headed. Like, I don't even know where I'm headed anymore. I completely have lost sight of where I wanted the book to end and what I wanted to accomplish in this first book. And I also wasn't sure what I even wanted to happen in the first book. And so, as opposed to, later in the series and stuff. And so I made some decisions, but I also was watching one of the Brandon Sanderson lectures that are on YouTube. I've been very slowly working my way through those. I believe this was like the third one in the series. It was like the second one that he did on plot. And so I watched that one. He is a plotter. I am not. This theme keeps happening with my writing where I have some general ideas of where, what's happening to my characters, what I want to happen in the book, the different character arcs, the different plot points. I'll have sometimes vague ideas, sometimes more solid ideas, not necessarily have them all strung together, but I'll have, a direction. And as I write, I end up finding out more about my world and about the plot and how things are all connecting together. Generally feel like this always happens around the maybe like 35,000 words to 40,000 words, somewhere around there. I tend to lose steam because I lose sight of where I'm going. And when I say that this generally happens, I mean the 2 times that I've gotten this far into a book. And it's around this point I feel like where I know everything that has happened so far because I wrote it, I'm good with that, but then it's like connecting the last little bits all the way through. What I'm realizing is that while there is part of me that is obviously a pantser, I kind of wonder if I'm a pantser just because I don't make the time to do plotting sessions, and maybe if I did, I would rather be a plotter so I can kind of know where I'm going. What I did, because he's talking about, the promises that you set up for the reader, and then progress. I think it was like promises, progress, and payoff maybe. I can't remember all of the words, but then the progress is like the story, right? The payoffs is like the stuff that happens at the end, like how does everything get resolved. So I followed one of his things that he does in his outlining where he like will work backwards. So where he wants the end of the book, he'll like write out all the little things that he wants to essentially have been wrapped up, or where, you know, where he wants to get with each of his plot lines, plot arcs, character arcs, whatever. He'll write those all down about where all those things are at the end of the book, and then he works backwards. That's what I decided to try to work on. So you guys saw me taking notes. That's what I was writing down, was all of the things that I want to have happened essentially by the end of the book. So I'm not going to go through them and tell you, because spoilers, that would be rude to you guys, because I want you guys to want to read my book when it is eventually published at some point, and you're not going to want to read it if you already know what happens. Okay, so now that I have all these listed down on paper, I'm actually going to start an outline in my Scrivener document. I promised that I was going to start draft 2 of Project Onyx, but now I am thinking, if I like this, if I like how I'm doing this, that I actually do not want to start that, because I think I should like actually outline Project Onyx using my first draft obviously as part of that. I feel like I'll be able to see where things are not quite right and what I need to add, because my plan of action with Project Onyx was just to like have at it and change things that I felt needed to be changed. But now that I'm thinking about that, I feel like that's more of the same, and I could very easily not end up changing what I need to be changed, and then the whole draft 2 would have just been a waste of time. I might actually not do any more work on this today, because again, I don't want to overdo my whole thing with being sick. I started to update you guys only for the camera to turn off because I was not recording. I had a day. I had quite the day. It was one of those days where, you know, you've told people something over and over again, like, hey, this thing that you're thinking about, that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. And they just keep trying to make it work that way. And they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna ask everyone else until I find someone that will tell me that this is the way it works. Then everyone's like, hey, that's not the way that it works. That was my day today. I was dealing with people who didn't believe me the first time around, that, hey, this isn't how we use this thing. It's not how it works. I think this is completely unrelated, but I am experiencing dissociation, which has never happened to me before. I have like wondered before, I'm like, is this what people mean when they talk about dissociation and derealization? Looking back on the times that I've like maybe thought, like, oh, maybe this could be it, maybe this is kind of how I'm feeling. No, that's not how. This is such a unique experience. I can't really describe it, but I know who I am. I know my name. I know what year it is. I know who's president. I know my family and all of that, but I'm having anxiety, which happens, but there's like this weird distance between me and the anxiety. Like, it doesn't feel like it's my anxiety, and I don't quite feel that I'm in my body. There's this weird thing where like I know who I am, but I don't, like, it feels like my personality is gone. Like, it's just not there. I don't know if it's probably really weird for a writing vlog. You guys are probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like, I was noticing this, that like I'll keep looking over at my dog and being like, oh my gosh, I have a dog. But like, I know that I have a dog. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised, or that I like forgot that I have a dog. It's just like, I'll look and I'll be like, I have a dog, but like with less excitement. Like, I love my dog and I love that she's here with me, but it's not like this excited like realization of, oh my gosh, I have this dog. It's just kind of like, I just keep thinking, oh, I have a dog. Like, as if it's new to me, but it's not. It's very weird. I don't know if I'm describing it correctly at all, and I don't even know if that is dissociation or derealization, but also, yeah, I'm really nauseous too right now for some reason. My appetite is non-existent. I haven't been hungry. Like, I made myself eat lunch and dinner, like kind of dinner. It wasn't really a dinner. It's like a snack. But I did want to wrap this vlog up, because at this point, with the way I'm feeling, I don't know how to write. Like, I don't know how to get myself into a headspace where I can sit down and write. That's a bummer, because I had some things I really wanted to do, and I kept telling you guys how I wish I wasn't sick anymore so that I could like get some stuff done. Like, I keep looking at myself in the viewfinder and I'm like, do I know them? Is that me? And I don't want to self-diagnose myself, but this is what I feel like is happening, and the only explanation for it that I could find in terms of like anxiety adjacent things. I didn't do any more plotting or brainstorming or writing yesterday. I just finished my scarf. This is what I've been calling the frugal scarf because I just found a bunch of old, well, my mom had like given me old yarn to like practice with, and I started with this blue and then I switched to another ball of yarn that was this exact same blue, and then I switched to this, whatever this color is. It looks different in the viewfinder. And then I had a bigger yarn ball of this green. And so it is the frugal scarf, and I'm going to give it to my dad because he's very frugal. And the fact that this literally cost no money to make because I didn't buy anything for it. I used knitting needles I already had. I used a pattern that I found in a book that I already owned. The yarn, it was just leftover yarn from other projects. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this vlog here because like I'm literally looking at my viewfinder and I'm like, who is that? It's very much freaking me out. Like I know that it's me, like I know, but I'm like looking at myself and I'm like, is that how, like, you know, I can't even describe it. I'm gonna go and just sleep. But I'm gonna wrap up this vlog, come back when I'm feeling better and when I can actually get some writing done. So I promise to have a little bit more for you guys in the next vlog writing wise, but I didn't want to not upload. Like every time I don't do much writing, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't upload, or oh, I shouldn't try and vlog, and then it ends up being like months of me not posting on my channel. So we're doing it because I'm already kind of behind on this vlog anyways, but I'm gonna try to start a new vlog in a couple days here. We'll see how I'm feeling, but anyways, I just want to say thank you so much if you made it this far. Sorry if I freak anybody out with my weird like thing. I feel like I'm gonna freak someone out because I'm just like existing and not, yeah. So anyways, thank you for watching, and again, apologies that this vlog was kind of odd. I hope your writing projects are doing well. If you're doing Nano, let me know in the comments. What are you doing? What project are you working on? Is it brand new or will you be editing something? Let me know. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this type of content, or if you want to see more from me. I also have a tarot related channel that's linked in the description box if you want to go check that out. I have not posted there in a bit because I've been sick, so, but there's content there if you want to watch it. Anyways, other than that, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy writing, and I will see you in my next vlog. Bye.
Alright, this is a song that I wrote about falling too fast, but I wouldn't know anything about that.
I don't wanna lose my grounding, so you catch me not responding, and I press my lips together so you don't find any answers.